I'm coming to get you.
Remember, Sally, when I promised to kill you last? I lied.
Get off my plane.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
John, I'm not gonna shoot you between the eyes. Shoot you between the balls. The disease, but I'm the cure. I'm gonna take you to the bank, Senator Trent.
There can be only one.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Yippee-ki-yay. I'm going to kill them all, sir.
4.5 years. 4.5 years.
It was going to happen.
I have only ever missed a release day one time early on in podcasting when Dan's computer crashed and we were still new at this, had no idea how to recover. And then there's an episode that will forever never be released, which was me and Nate tried to do Cabin in the Woods in our first year. And we are the most meandering, nonsensical discussion you could ever imagine. If you think Nate gets a little weird, you should hear that one, which you never will. And now in 2025, when we should be discussing a horror movie, the podcast gods have required a sacrifice. And I had to give them this week's episode. It's a lost one. So I'm not even going to tell anyone what it was because we will do it later.
Oh, sure.
I'm just not going to try and I'm going to put some time so we can all kind of come back to it fresh later, not trying to remember all the jokes we said or points we made.
Yeah.
I won't remember any of them anyway.
Well, that's the beauty of recording with Pete. He doesn't remember any of this, and he doesn't listen to a new episode till it's about 3 months old. So
Yeah.
That's true.
So yes, that is why we are going from action to action. And we are covering an action movie this week. And this is a first also for the podcast. We just recorded this last night. I am literally jumping this out immediately as soon as we're done recording. So you are hearing almost now, depending on if you listen every Tuesday.
Hot off the presses, literally.
Is now then? When is soon?
By the time they hear this, it will be now.
Right, exactly.
In the future.
When will we be then? Soon.
Soon.
So yeah, that is what's going on. This is also, it's come what may, and guess what? May just slapped us across the face.
Sure
and said, here we go, bitches.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, still getting an episode out. That was really, really important. We also, I tried to give a buffer before I did this to everyone, but it's a Pete pick. Pete has selected this movie we're getting ready to watch. So I am going to, I'll do this. Welcome to Give Me Back My Action Movies, a podcast. I am one of your hosts, Charlie. With me, as always, is Pete. Say hello to the world, Pete.
Hello, Pete. Good to be here.
And next to Pete on my screen is our wonderful Scream Queen, Anna. Say hello to the people, Anna.
Hello, people.
There we go. Now, I shall relinquish control of said train to co-host Pete.
Oh, I'm driving? Oh, no. I'm never good at this.
That's okay.
Yes,
I got your back.
Tonight's,
I got your back.
Tonight's feature presentation from 2025. This thing dropped just maybe a month ago.
Brand new.
It is on Netflix. It is so brand spanking new that there's only one bit of trivia in the IMDb page. And and it's really not much of anything.
It's not. I read it.
It's a big old wet fart is what it is. Don't even bother. It's so brand new. I was looking earlier today. If you go through the cast list and try to figure out what everybody's name is, even on IMDb, they don't have their fictional name. Their movie names.
Their character name.
Right. They have their actual names.
Or their picture. So we can't even put a
There's
face to
also
a name.
pictures that are missing. This is how brand spanking squeaky clean new this is.
Also a first. Is this the first time we've done one like
this
immediate?
You guys threw
Probably
me
so.
this pick, and I have been eyeballing this, and I wanted to watch it before I brought it to the show, but I went, oh hell, let's just do it. For one reason alone, the director is Shinji Higuchi, who did Shin Godzilla.
Yes.
And if you've seen, and I know a lot of our listeners probably have, I hope you have. If you haven't, please go out and watch Shin Godzilla. Top 5 Godzilla movies of all time.
No
you
reason
can
we shouldn't
see
do it on this show. I'm just saying.
hey, you can pick it.
You can too.
That one really is an action movie, by the way.
Yeah,
that one
it
and
is.
-1 are definitely action movies. The rest are goofy sci-fi fun. Anywho, Shinji Higuchi was also the director of Evangelion Genesis, one of the most highly regarded animes of all time. It is the most confusing piece of anime I've ever seen. I can't make heads or tails of it. I've watched and read a number of things that break it down for you. I still don't. I don't know.
That's most anime for me. So that's
this one is exceptionally weird. Anywho, Shinji Higuchi is a big action director in Japan. He's well known. He won the Japanese Oscar for Shin Godzilla, and you can see his fingerprints. Like whenever you watch a Del Toro movie, you can see his fingerprints. Tarantino also. You just know without knowing. You know this film is by that director. So as I'm watching this, I can see it all over the place. The way the explosions are, the music is damn near pulled straight out of Shin Godzilla, and I think the music's bitching. It's got that heavy rock with like taiko drums behind it. It's so unique and wonderful. Again, it's on Netflix. I'm sorry.
You need to tell everybody what the name of the movie is this whole time.
Did I not say? Oh shit!
We haven't even said the name of the movie yet.
Whoopsie. So it dropped on April 23rd of 2025. This is Bullet Train Express.
Explosion.
It is
Explosion.
I'm sorry, Explosion. You're right. Bullet Train Express. Told you I wasn't good at this. Bullet Train Explosion. Now there was a Bullet Train. Sonny Chiba was in it back in like 78.
78, 79.
Something like, it was the late 70s. And this movie references that
75.
film.
75.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
well, it was a
we're way
very
off.
young Sonny Chiba, and he was so goddamn charming in that. I did go back and I watched that film before I watched this one, and I regret it a little bit. I do and I don't. So
okay.
we'll
So
talk
good
about
thing
that.
we all didn't do it then. Okay.
Well, I figured you wouldn't anyway because it's a
I didn't have
2.5 hour. Right, it's a 2.5 hour movie. Jesus Christ.
This
one's
almost
2.5
is.
hours.
It's 2 hours and 17 minutes,
Almost,
which is my second complaint about this movie.
And that's I also will bitch about that a little bit. 97 minutes, that's my sweet spot.
Ooh, this movie would have been perfect.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. Like there was a lot of trimming you could have done in some of these long drawn out action scenes.
I can fix this movie only with what they gave me.
Yeah.
I can trim this down and not need to add anything
100%.
and make it a perfectly paced movie.
Agreed.
Yep.
And I'm not even exaggerating. I really feel like I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
make a fan cut or a short attention cut.
There you go. The ADHD
the
cut.
ADHD cut. Hell yeah. We needed one of those for RRR too.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
As great as that film was,
I know.
Right.
it could have been a little shorter. Bullet Train from 75 suffers from the same thing. It's some long drawn out action shots, beautiful countryside. The original, I don't know about this one yet because again we don't have a lot of trivia, but the original was actually done on the Shinkansen while it was in motion. They would film it while the interiors.
That's
everything was
impressive.
filmed. Yeah.
That's honestly impressive.
It was a very cool. Of course, everything was practical back in 75. So as an historical film where you see some really good practical effects and miniatures, I do recommend going back and watching it. Just be prepared to relax, sit down. I don't know, take it in chunks if you want, but it's also very long.
Well, that's all right.
But it was fun that they did reference this. It wasn't just like it wasn't a reboot or a remake.
Yeah, it wasn't a flat out remake. It was
right.
It kind of is and isn't. They reference it, but yet,
frankly, the first hour of this is, I don't want to say shot for shot, but every downbeat happens in the first hour of 75 as it does in 2025.
Gotcha.
So there was a lot. When I started watching Bullet Train Explosion, I'm like, I've already seen all this shit. Wait, no. I haven't seen this yet. Because I kept thinking the 75 version was, I got it all muddled up.
That's
in my
why
brain.
you shouldn't have done both. So,
But not in the same week.
Not same week. Not when you're going to cover
right.
one.
Especially when they're that long. And
But
we're going to cover it here. So
I have some good news, though.
Yeah, sure.
Normally, whenever we get a Pete pick, especially a Japanese Pete pick movie, we don't get trailers. But thankfully, this went to Netflix. So Netflix gave us an English trailer.
Many different types of people ride the Shinkansen, yet all of them heading in the same direction. Once they arrive, they're back to being strangers. There is something nice about the way it feels to watch all that.
Under a certain speed, bomb goes off? But everyone will panic. There's no way.
But the worst thing that can happen is for any of us to panic right now.
The fee is 100 billion yen. I want all the people of Japan to pay.
It's only fair that we ask the country to chip in.
That's madness.
Not negotiating with the demands of terrorists.
So you're abandoning the people in the train?
By the way, this is a government decision. Are you on board the Hayabusa 60 right now? I bet there's a collaborator somewhere. Just keep the train running.
Far too dangerous.
There's no other option here. So they're going to collide. If we don't do something, we're dead! I need an estimate of the damages if it explodes in the urban area. We know for sure the damage will be massive. You mean you're thinking of stopping? There are crew members, passengers inside that train, and they need us. This is politics. How dare you treat human lives like that? Are you absolutely sure this is the best plan we've got? But the question is, are we doing it or not?
She's a kid. Look at her. We can't let her die.
Don't worry about it. We're gonna save it.
It's approaching the switch.
Bullet train explosion.
All right, we're back. There it is, an English trailer from the Japanese film that Pete selected. How about that? It's in English. And I know some people don't really like reading subtitles, so rest assured this film is in English from start to finish.
And it's a good dub.
It's a very good dub.
It is a very good dub.
I'm pretty sure it's when you intentionally plan for it to be dubbed instead of hiring an Australian company, which happened all the time in the 80s and 90s for Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
This was, I'm pretty sure this is a Netflix film. So
Yes.
they had every intention of making a good English dub of this one.
Yeah. That impressed me more than anything. So yeah, normally we would be like, what's our histories with this? And we're not going to have any histories. Although I do remember, I think I have seen this movie sometime, but I kind of remember Keanu Reeves in it and Dennis Hopper and,
Sandra Bullock
was in this. So yeah, just so everyone understands how Charlie's going to progress here. I don't know anyone's name in this movie.
Same.
So I am going to be saying things like Japanese Keanu, Japanese Sandy Bullock, and whatever else they did in the movie. That is going to be their name.
Bad girl,
electrician, government dickhead,
conductor.
That's
driver.
Sandy Bullock.
Even
Sandy
if you
Bullock
wanted
is
to.
the
Okay,
driver.
gotcha. Yeah.
The names went by so fast, and they're not even on IMDb really.
No, not really.
As we're sitting here,
No.
I thought I recognized a few of the actors, but I'm going through some of their IMDb's, and some of them I thought I may have caught in like Shin Kamen Rider, because that was that. A lot of these are young, fresh-faced actors. They all did a very good job.
Yeah, a lot of younger actors.
Yeah, I think the only name I remembered was Kenji, which is the almost like a trainee under conductor Keanu.
So the guy gets stabbed.
Oh yeah, his
Yep.
intern. You could say.
Yeah, he's like an intern in here. He was working on that. So yeah, this. Yeah, I'm going to make the jokes about speed and everything in this movie, and that's fine. I mean, there's a bomb on a train, not a bus, and I'm going to tell you the first thing that struck me as I was watching this movie is a bit of the culture shock and how much I forget that Japan is super polite and courteous at all times.
Yeah.
Even when they shouldn't be. They are polite. I'd have been punching motherfuckers in this movie. I'd have been lifting them up, bashing their heads together to get them to shut up.
There aren't too many mavericks in the Japanese society, especially portrayed on screen.
No,
they're all very polite.
And as a American watching this, I'm waiting for my Keanu character. You know what I mean? Like I'm waiting for this hero to come up, and he's gonna crawl under the train and disarm the bombs and fall in love with the girl driving the train at the front, which I have said I've got a couple of issues with this movie. Number one is the length.
Yeah.
This could have been cut into 90 minutes,
no arguments,
and it would have been gold. It would have been super fast paced. Still got everything.
More so.
Yeah. Get rid of all of the boring bullshit with the government, and because you can drop nuggets, but they take too long in places.
Yeah.
Dragging it out.
So I did want to say something about that. That's Shin Godzilla is all about government. It's all about government red tape and how slowly the Japanese government moves to make decisions because of how the government is built. And it's a democracy, but it kind of is. The bureaucracy is so thick. It's like wading through sludge. This person has to ask their superior, has to ask their superior, has to ask their superior to get permission, and then it has to go back down the chain of command.
They touch on that a little bit in here, and we'll find out about me. But there was also just a lot of dragging out, like I'm going to now address the people of Japan and let them. But you can be like, oh, now Prime Minister of Travel is going to speak. I could cut down to the bullet points that I need out of him to talk. Boom, right back into the action. Everything as far as like, I don't have a name for this guy, but you have Conductor Keanu, and then you have what do you call it? Like Headquarters Keanu. There's like Keanu divided into two characters in this movie. You got the guy taking charge that is in the control room of everything, where the trains go, how to time it. And then you have the conductor on the train.
Right. That's a good way to put it. It's like you're splitting Keanu in half because the train is controlled by electricity from a central point.
Yes.
Whereas a bus, just you got gas, you can go.
Yeah,
right?
you're on that.
Road.
You got to figure out how to fuel it later. That's our climax.
This is definitely a tag team effort from somebody who's on the train to somebody that's helping the train move from track to track. And that was the most fascinating thing about how clever they were and how resourceful they were to get trains to move from one track to one track.
This blew my mind.
To avoid other trains that are coming head on to them.
Yeah, that was like so detailed. Just the amount of details I had no idea went into stuff like that, and how much science and math is involved. Just soared right above my head.
No, yeah, it was blowing. And I guess part of me, I'm looking at their board on the wall that lights up and it shows the tracks. And I'm going, that train can't make that turn they're showing. But then when they show the tracks, it's literally just, a little bump in the track and it moves over. I'm looking at it like it's got to go up.
It's not a 45-degree angle.
It's not, but that's the picture.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, right?
An American brain that does
like
imperial measurements.
20-degree angle,
yeah,
right? I
I was like, that's not going to happen.
Not at 120 kilometers an hour.
No, but so the other thing that pissed me off because that was the first one, was the length. The second one is we get a conductor, a female character that we start out the movie with her, and this is where that precision and that different culture I saw. She triple checks herself. She has a method of, I touch my head, the brakes are off. I touch my head, look at the screen. She has but I have a feeling that's how they're taught. That is what you do to make sure you're not forgetting any point in what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
They're rolling down those tracks at speeds of excess of 100 miles an hour. You have hundreds of people in your care.
Right.
Yes, please.
You can only hope to get
diligent as possible.
People can only hope to get train conductors or pilots that have this much care and need and necessity to want to do this to take care of everyone, and not just like be so flippant. Oh yeah, I got it. I don't need to do this. Why do I need to touch my head and point? In American way of thinking. That's dumb.
I'm a pilot. I can
tell me what to do.
I know
this. What I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody know how to fly a plane? I'm putting my hand up. Charlie, you've never flown a plane. I know how.
Yeah,
I've seen enough movies. I can do it.
Jones did it.
I watched Maverick.
That's right. I got this. I'm good. But I love this character, and she disappears in this movie until the very end.
Yeah,
and
she
that irritated me so badly.
Kind of done with her story, though. I mean, she's maintaining the speed of the train.
Yeah, basically, she's the gas pedal in this entire movie. And I wanted Sandra Bullock.
I get
you know what I mean? I wanted.
And then you had
that dynamic.
You had the government official that kind of, sort of, was trying to be the Sandra Bullock. I didn't really get that out of her. That character didn't really need to be there, and was kind of a waste of space. And I didn't quite understand. I'd have to watch it again to really figure out why she was. Maybe not why she was there, but why it was important that she was there.
She was important to be there because the people hated her. She was down in the numbers in the polls.
Right.
She was a conservative. I'm sorry, conservative side of the political landscape over there. They called her the sugar mom or the candy, something like that.
That's right. They did.
And my guess it was something to do with either some kind of whatever you call
there's a scandal.
A scandal.
I think it was
an
affair.
There was a scandal going on.
How it was portrayed, but not necessarily said.
Right, and her handler there we'll use this for good image in the press and all, and so she's trying to be that I can take charge. This is very much like Air Force One when you had the senator on there, and he's like, I can talk to Gary Oldman and get this all settled up, and Gary Oldman basically just shoots him. I don't give a shit about this guy. That's kind of the Americanized version of who this chick is on here. We also get a guy this is a really good red herring. We think we know who the bomber is immediately in this movie. As the people are getting onto the train, you see this guy that's got a mask on. He's hiding his head. He's carrying a bag. Every time they talk about something going on, they show him in a very dark manner. And you're like, oh, well, there's the bomber. Okay. So I already know who he is. He's on here now. No. I'm like, damn. Okay. I don't want to reveal yet till we get a little bit further before we reveal the amazing twist.
The twist, you were, what?
It knocked me for a loop.
Yeah.
I am enjoying this. If I did trains, there's a ton of people that build trains, collect trains, do the whole setup in their base. This is your movie. If you love that stuff, watch it, because the shots of the train stations, I feel like this is a mix of model, real trains in real stations, and a little bit of CG. This doesn't feel very CG.
It doesn't. It feels heavy. Everything feels like it's got weight.
Like there's weight to it. But sometimes you can do models as if they're heavy as you go. There was not a point where I went, oh God, that CG was terrible. That really kind of took me out of it. No. The only thing that ever took me out of it was once in a while they would show the train and I was counting the cars and I went, that one doesn't have enough cars. And then it would cut to another picture of another one. I went, there it is. And then it cut into another one. I was like, that one don't have enough cars. That's how into it I got. I really got into this movie. I had so much fun with this. And I was actually, I don't want to say on the edge of my seat, but when the stuff starts happening in this movie, I'm finding myself like holding my breath.
Yeah.
Just that.
I get it.
Oh, what's getting ready to happen? Like, and I want to say it took forever to get there, but I'm so immersed in what's going on and how they're going to get to the action that I'm just kind of following the story. I'm just really kind of, and again, it's the politeness, it's the precision, it's the way these people, no matter what, we're under this high stress scenario. We got a job to do though. Like they never created chaos on their own. They tried to stop the chaos because they had a job to do.
Yeah, they were very cool and under composure, chill, especially Keanu, our guy on the train. Like he was like, so no mention of the bomb whenever he's talking to the government officials. Like the train will not stop at Kyoto or wherever the next stop is. It will keep going. But just say because of technical difficulties. And he's like, so no mention of the bomb. No. Okay, no problem. And he just keeps it cool and level-headed and I think a presence like that anyways amongst, you're already going to be kind of wondering like, why are we not stopping? There has to be something that they're not telling us, but his presence just kind of calms everybody down. It would me anyways.
Well, he was like, it's a technical difficulty. So we haven't told everyone. So this is speed. You can't drop below 55. This is, you can't drop below 100 kilometers, which I did the math at it. It's right anywhere between like 65 and 75 miles per hour. So when you say bullet train, you immediately, because these are the ones that can go.
This is the Shinkansen.
100 to 200
fast.
I think there was one they said was doing 320 kilometers an hour, which gets into the 200 mile per hour range. So now it's a little bit more believable, and they're able to control it because we have a threshold. Oh, they're going 75. That's not terrible. Okay, I can, and they allow her to go 120. Don't get too close. That's what it was. 100 was 62 miles an hour, but they kept her at 120, which was 75, because they didn't want her to get too close to 100 because the train would explode. But also they needed as much time as they could muster to get a plan together. So this is like the sweet spot for their speed, because
this thing is going through cities.
Japan runs off of a railway. Yeah.
Shares tracks with other. You don't have one train, one track. It's many trains, one track.
All going different directions. I mean, this
different
is
times of the day.
It's like an air traffic controller when you see.
Oh, sure.
Yep. This headquarters where they're coordinating everything, and it's fascinating. So I was fascinated by that. I was already just like, this is awesome. It's like, okay, shut this down. Tell the people we're very sorry. Showing all of the stops where the people are waiting to get on the train, keeping them pushed back. Dude, that shot, Pete. You just did that. When they have to go through the first stop, and these things are so automated that the system takes control of the train and makes sure it applies the brakes. And they had to make sure that they turn, it's called the ATC. And they had to make sure they disabled that. So they got it disabled, and we see the girl again. That's where I kept going. She's going to be important later because she's watching everything. She goes, it is off. She says it like 5 times, but that's her protocol. And when everyone's holding their breath, because if the ATC turns on, if it fails, it's going to stop the train and it's going to blow up in the station. And this train just flies like that's the sound it makes, and the way it blows people. They're safely away, but the wind that blows people,
they're getting knocked on their butts.
Yeah,
because of the pressure wave.
The one guy's kind of like holding on to people as it goes by. It felt like Twister a little bit, just that, that force of power going through. That's our first moment of, oh shit, what's going to happen now? I'm also looking at it going, okay, we're 20 minutes into the movie. I got two and a half hours to go. Yeah. We're not blowing up yet, but I'm still interested in what's going to happen. So I was having a lot of fun with that. And then the people dynamic, I actually kind of got into the characters, even though I don't know their names. There's just so many people, but you had the school kids who are on a school trip, the political one, the guy that's kind of hiding. Then we find out that he is ostracized from, I want to say the community, but from everyone. He was a helicopter pilot that killed 8 people, and he's the only one that survived. So they all kind of blame him for it. I think it was drinking or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Look at Pete. He's like, not drinking.
Not me.
I didn't quite catch. I'm good.
Okay.
I didn't quite catch why he was.
I don't know if it was exactly drinking, but there was something he did that caused it. It wasn't just an accident that he killed 8 people. And the reason he was hiding his face was he was known. It was public knowledge.
Publicized accident. and everyone in the country seemed to know who he was, or at least in the area.
Right.
Because you get the two I want to call them
ding-dongs.
the punk
punks.
kids
Yeah.
with the dyed hair and everything
Ding-dongs.
that are harassing this guy and basically beating the shit out of him, just saying, just say you're sorry. Like, motherfucker, who? To you? Were you affected by this? Why does it matter if he says he's sorry now?
Yeah.
But they're literally beating the crap out of him. And then Conductor Keanu has to come in and politely, separate people. I was just, I wanted a roundhouse kick.
Some haymakers.
Some haymakers. Just,
grab him
knock
by the
it out.
collar and shove him up against the wall or something. That's the American way.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I tower over these people, but I would have just snatched them both up by their coats, clanked them in the head, set them in chairs.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, all right, everybody sit the fuck down now. Settle down.
Chewbacca and just knock a couple of stormtroopers.
I am Chewbacca over there. But I'm interested in the people's story of what's going on. And plus, the people know something's wrong, but the dynamic of Conductor Keanu, Kenji, and a handful of others are the only ones that know that there is a bomb on the train. So they're dealing with, like, Kenji really deals with this emotionally. He has a breakdown throughout this movie. He panics. He doesn't know how to compose himself like Keanu does. And I kind of like that. I needed that little extra emotion because Keanu's just calm as water, dude.
He's got years under his belt. So
yeah.
While he hasn't dealt with this situation before, he's taken all of his experience over the years and dialed it up as best he can to keep himself and others calm. Whereas Kenji is pretty green. And
very green.
It is. He's wearing his emotions on his sleeve. I like what you said about the all the passengers, Charlie. It felt like an actual train ride. Like there wasn't, soldiers or only salarymen or only kids or something like that. It was just an eclectic. It's just your normal commute or travel from one end of Japan to the other. So you had just a wide slice of Japanese life, whether you were an internet influencer, I guess that guy was,
or my third thing I hate in this movie,
or a political.
Well, it kind of goes back to what he said at the beginning too, when he's walking through the train station with the intern. He's like, what I like about it is that everybody starts off, it's just people getting on a train, and then maybe while they're on there, they'll talk or do whatever else and share this ride. But then at the end of the ride, they'll get off and they'll become strangers again. And that's kind of what happens at the end of this. Sure, they might be bonded over this experience, but I think they're going to leave it and be strangers again and not necessarily be all buddies and do a train explosion reunion every year. You know what I mean? So I think that was kind of foreshadowing for where the movie goes in the end.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about it like that. That was amazing.
Bring in the wood. Well done.
Yeah. With the bullet points for Bullet Train. I like it. But no, that's where I'm saying, like, for something that this movie does pick up speed, no pun intended, as it goes.
Yeah.
It just takes a little bit to get there because you're building. Okay. Like in Speed, bomb on bus, save people, figure out plan, guy is watching. So it's pretty straightforward what we got to do. It's going to be fast paced, boom, 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 boom. And anytime we cut away from the bus, it has to be more action. Go find Bomber's house, go in there, Jeff Daniels blows up. Mm-hmm. That's
whoopsie.
That's the Americanized of this. This, though, is I need to understand the dynamic of how this train system works, that they're under a lot of political, tape. And there's territories and there's all these, like Pete was saying, so many people that you have to go through, go up and down, checks and balances all the way through. Just like the girl that's running the train, this is going. She always touches her head. I was fascinated by that in this movie. Anything else, I probably would have been annoyed. That's another thing. I don't think there's one annoying character in this. There's one you're meant to hate, which is government dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
Even he kind of redeems himself by the end of this movie. So there's no like, okay, I'm going to take that back. Even though he does kind of get a little bit better later, I hate the fucking influencer.
Mm-hmm. He's
don't know
such
if
a pompous prick when we first meet him.
Yeah, I don't know if I hate him. I just hate the idea of influencers like that. That just grates me. Look, I am no influencer, even though we're on Instagrams and all this other shit because of the podcast, but I don't care what you do. And please don't do what I do except watch action movies. But this is that kind of guy this is where everyone's kind of getting their tabloid-esque kind of news. He starts a GoFundMe, and, then they're like, oh, it's all about the money for this guy. And I hated it. And then every kid. So before I talk about that, the bomber calls the headquarters.
The train headquarters.
Yes. Yeah. And asks for 1 billion yen. I was wanting to make sure I remember the denomination. And the bomber says, I want 1 billion yen from the Japanese people. Well, they all ignore that last little part. So they're like, the government can't come up with 1 billion yen. We can't do all this for 1 billion yen. And the bomber has to call back later and be like, you misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
I want the Japanese people. And does a math equation of
it's 1,000.
It was
yen
1,000
per person in Japan
per populace.
Yes, from the population. That'll cover the bill.
And then this influencer once he finds out that that's the number, he starts basically a GoFundMe.
Right.
And we see that number climbing because it's popular and he's streaming and God knows how much money he's making while his life's in danger on that. And then all these Japanese kids start making Instagram posts. And I'm sitting there just going, oh God, I hate every second of this.
I love that part.
Oh God, I hated it so bad.
Because I was like, good for him for taking matters into his own hands. If the government's not going to listen to him, then good for them for kind of putting their heads together and trying to get through to the people of Japan to see that, hey, our government's taking forever to get anything done. You all have the power to help us. Was it kind of, what's that word you used earlier? Schmarmy, Pete? Was it kind of?
Schmarmy.
Yeah, was it kind of sleazy? Yeah, but everybody's got to hustle. Yeah. So if he's making a little money on the side while also saving their life, more power to him.
I've gotten sucked into this thing on YouTube where I watch, this guy's called a Tozy, and he's following the fall of influencers. And there's been these shit bags that have gone overseas and harassed like Korean people, Vietnamese people.
Yeah, no, that's fucked up. Yeah.
Well, he's following it because these influencers have gotten arrested and they're all going to court and they could face like 30, 50 years in jail. And I'm over here going, give it to him. Throw the book. It's just, I feed off of that because I hate all of that. I don't know. I don't want to call it a culture or whatever it is. Not Japanese culture, social media. Mm-hmm. I hate it. I hate it. It's just, oh God.
This is why I run the Instagram, folks.
This is exactly why. This is exactly why Anna does all that. And I just go, yes, I will collaborate. Except. Check out this action picture. Except that's all I want to do. I don't want to get on there going, hey, make sure you like, subscribe, follow. Hey, just check us out over on Patreon.
There we go.
Pete'll do his funky dance. It's just.
For $5, I'll play my trumpet for you. For $10, I'll stop playing my trumpet for you.
For $50, he'll play yours. But anyway. All right, it's time for a trailer. It's
a trailer, huh?
A trailer.
Commercial.
You want a war? Well, you got it right after this.
All right, Paul. So I think it's time we, made a trailer.
Do we have to?
Like, if people keep asking, so we're gonna deliver.
Well, what are we supposed to do in this damn trailer?
We're just gonna talk about shit we do here. We theme our months, right? Like, what do we?
I mean, I know we've done stuff like musicals and animation month and creature features, all sorts of stuff, but is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's something kind of like that. That I'm probably going to sit there and tell people, we're on all social medias. We're on the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and it's all under Flicks and Friends podcast.
Yeah, I guess so, if they're not tired of hearing that by now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that'll work. Should we press record?
Yeah, let's press record right now.
Sharks of the Corn? Virus shark? Cocaine shark? Sharktopus? Yeah, those are all real movies. Join me, Steve Coates, as each week I take a comedic look at the bizarre world of sharksploitation cinema on Bucket of Chum, the Shark Movie Podcast.
I didn't come here to talk. Lucky for you, they did.
So while this movie's 2 hours and 17 minutes,
Yeah.
this episode is not going to be 2 hours and 17 minutes.
No.
No.
Charlie, I wanted to ask, you mentioned there was a twist in this, and probably my favorite thing over the weekend was you were texting and you don't ever do this.
He never does that. He doesn't
Never.
like Pete and I, even Nate sometimes, more so than Charlie, but
Oh,
especially Pete. I'm second, but we'll live text if we're watching a movie, like in the Slack. And Charlie hardly ever does it.
I almost never. And he comes to a certain part and he goes, "Holy shit, a twist!" And I hadn't gotten there yet. So I was like, "Oh, what's coming up?"
I was a little ahead of him.
Were you?
Anna was a little ahead, but she had said, I have 30 minutes left. I took that as because I know you two will watch these in clumps. So I took it as she hasn't finished it. So I purposely was trying not to spoil anything in the chat. So I was just, so I was just kind of rolling through because I'm going to it right now. I can actually give you guys.
He's sending GIFs and everything.
Yeah. So
a permit? Fuck your permit.
Fuck the government.
The first thing I said was, okay, I'm fucking impressed with the train action in this movie.
Yeah.
And then I put, they just did the first switch changeover. Now, this is the second action sequence that makes your butt pucker in this movie. We'll talk about the twist after this one. But this one impressed the shit out of me. It needs to get onto a certain track so it can continue going straight. But there is a train on there that they're trying to get out of the way.
Coming at them, not behind them. Coming at them.
At them, head on. So their plan is speed up the other train as fast. That's where they say it's like 300 kilometers an hour.
Yeah. And slow down this train as far as
they're
you can.
slowing her down. This is also when it finally clicked on me that it's not a 45-degree turn that they gotta do. Because they
finally show it.
Yeah, it's like the track is moving a foot and it bumps them over. And I went, oh, that makes way more sense. I'm an idiot. I didn't know that's how this works.
Big old American brain.
And I'm seeing headquarters Keanu. He's holding like 2 stopwatches. Like he is that math question that we had in school. If one train is coming from Kyoto at 320 kilometers an hour and the other train is coming the other direction. And so
he always had the answer.
Who knew there was a real life practical situation that you can.
I'm going to go look for the kid with watermelons next because that guy has to exist too. But it just... So we're watching this and so they can see it on their boards and they're doing the math and basically the trains are just controlling, the go levers and it's getting closer and we're seeing these awesome shots of the trains going at each other and we see the one train. Then they're super long too. It's not like a couple of cars. It's like
it's a train.
It was like 8 or 10 cars on one of them.
It's between 7 and 10, I think. Something.
It was somewhere because they lose half of them later.
Yeah.
So this one starts going, but it's not going to quite clear. So in order to get things to work, they had to get her to slow down just enough, right? Just in that
was it
hair
like
of
103 or something like that? Barely.
It was 103 they wanted her at, but she got it down to 101.
Yeah, she kept going.
She bumped it up and it just kisses the back of the front of that train, kisses the back of the other one, but recovers.
Yeah.
That was a literal butt pucker moment.
So good.
And I put in there, they just did the first switch changeover. And I was glued to the television at that point. Then that's also where I went, oof, this influencer angle sucks.
Yeah.
Then I went, God damn it, this movie is making me hyped because it was a Pete pick. And I was like, damn it, this is Pete's movie.
This is going to be terrible. It's a Pete pick.
No.
And it's like, it's been a while since you've messaged in the chat while watching. I've got 30 minutes left. I went, I'm pulling a Pete. Yeah, and this thing kept going. And then they were like, we need to, I took a break. I wasn't doing it the whole movie. But it got to this point where the only way they could get it to move tracks, there was tracks unfinished. So very speed, the highway's not done. The
highway wasn't done. Yep.
Immediately, I went, they're going to jump this fucking train.
I was hoping.
I was hoping so. I had my fingers crossed.
You and me both.
Only to find out that they were going to try to quickly build the tracks and move them.
That was insane.
And then this fucking government prick says the one goddamn thing because they're like, this is the plan. We have only this much amount of time to do it. We're going to get everyone involved. And this government guy, the government guy is in, so he's not dickhead anymore. But he says the one thing that makes my blood boil. I'll get the permits going. Motherfucker!
Just do it! Just do it! It's not our jurisdiction. We just can't do this stuff.
And I put in the chat, a permit? Fuck your permit!
I was dying. Because I had gotten that far at least. I was dying laughing.
I was yelling at the television at this point. And then it was I don't think more than maybe 10, 15 minutes. I got hit. God, I don't know if I've had a twist this good in a while.
Charlie, you always guess the twist.
Yeah, and you're usually very good at guessing.
Cannot be got. So the fact that not only were you hyped for the action part of the movie, the twist got you as well. It was a twofer.
Because they did it correctly in this one. Because you're not focused on who's the bomber once they show that the guy that we thought it was the helicopter pilot. Once you're like, oh, the bomber's not on this train.
I thought that. I was like, he's not over there.
Because they're showing so much outside of. I'm like, okay, eventually there's going to be a cop that's going to go find this bomber. It may be even at the end of the movie. No, we find out because we get this action sequence of. They kind of have an idea where some of the bombs are under the train that they need to disconnect half of the train.
Well, they disconnected the last 2 or 3 cars of the train.
Yes.
So they could do that second incredible action scene where they're pulling up behind them.
Oh, that scene is insane.
That's why they had to let go of those last couple of train cars so that they could execute the next plan to
but
get
they knew
off.
They knew there were multiple bombs.
Yes, they deduced that there were like every other car or every 3 cars or something there was a bomb.
I think the count was 4 total. I think is what I counted on the explosion. No one knew that exactly because the bomber doesn't say where it is. That'd be kind of stupid because then Keanu's going to crawl under the train and disarm them, because that's what I'm waiting on. So yeah, they do this amazing shot of pulling another train beside them to give them the tools they're going to need because they're not just they don't have Ortiz from Speed who had all his tools.
Right. Just much like Speed though. They did the same thing in Speed.
Yeah.
They were throwing people or something. What was that?
They dropped the walk plank to get the bus driver who was shot. Mm-hmm. They had to get him over, so they paced and got him across. This is the same, but it's crossing. They don't try to get anyone off. They're passing tools because they're going to try to uncouple the train while it's running. And this, again, the tension and how they do this. And you got Japanese electrician guy, which I actually love that dude because his wife's like, honey, they need an electrician. You matter now. And I was like, oh.
And the look on his face when they're saying, we need an electrician in the back. He's just, his face lit up like
it was
This is my moment.
It was his Keanu moment. This was electrician Keanu comes running up. He looks at all the stuff. He's whoa, and he starts putting everything. But they're walking it across. Like how to hook up the wires, disable this because you can't have if you uncouple the brakes automatically engage regardless of
and
the
then
ATC.
Boom. Yep.
Yeah. So they're bypassing stuff. Giant ass wrench to take everything apart.
That was a big wrench.
Keanu ends up on the wrong end of the train, has to jump to get on the other, and they have to speed up the other train because this one is obviously going to slow down. There's, from momentum. Huge explosion. Amazing explosion on
Beautiful.
the track.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it. Just so they can have a train that's going backwards. 200 kilometers an hour.
They took off the front because both sides of the train look like the front of the train.
Yeah, so you never have to switch.
They go to one line and they go to the other line. They just go back and forth all day long.
Yeah, they're not a circle. So
no, it's not a circle.
You
it's
go
a straight
forward,
line.
you go back. But there's a
so they
engine
took off
in the front.
that front car, and there's just this open. As you would walk between cars.
Yeah, they had a piece of plexiglass as a windshield when they're going up there, which I was fascinated with. So anyway, they get over there and they get the majority of the past, like 300 passengers, they said it was, something like that.
All but 9.
All but 9 passengers because something in the wiring that they bypassed was causing the ATC to engage. And so these brakes were engaging on the again, we finally get to see the conductor after almost an hour.
Yeah.
And she's trying to figure out what's going on, and she panics and slams the brakes for whatever reason.
No, I thought she did that on purpose because they couldn't quite catch up. So she hit the brakes and they came crashing in. That's how they got everybody over.
She says at the end when they're safe, she goes, "I am so sorry I panicked when I hit the brakes."
Oh, okay. I missed that.
So,
because I'm like, she's a hero, man, thinking quick on her feet like that.
Well, she hit the brakes while that platform was attached. They were starting to break apart. And when she hits it, it destroys it all. So that leaves 9 people on there. So now we're in Americanized action movie stuff. You got a small amount of people, got to figure out, we're in a half of a train. We're running into, I think they're going to Tokyo.
Tokyo.
The next big.
This is approaching Tokyo in like 2 hours, and this could literally affect millions of people.
Yeah.
If this thing explodes in the Tokyo station, which is one of the biggest train stations in the world.
Yeah.
This could devastate the country for years.
Yeah, it was something like this. It was like almost like the end of the line, almost. Like there's no going past this.
No.
We got to figure it out now. So now the pace of this movie has picked up a lot. And it
definitely snowballs at this point. It just keeps rolling faster and faster and faster.
Yeah. And during all of this, the kids all get off and the teacher realizes one of the girls hasn't got off. She always in this movie just looked dazed, emotionless.
Yep. And she's just a girl. She's just
wearing a
schoolgirl uniform.
Sitting with the other kids.
Yep. Doesn't say anything really.
Just innocuous. Very innocuous. And so this teacher ends up, because she went looking for her, and now we get everyone gathered and they're talking to her, and this gets revealed. The girl is the bomber. She admits it to him. She's like, you guys are doing all this other stuff, and y'all think that there's this bomber that's doing, and she just calmly, "It was me. I'm the bomber."
Eerily calm. She's so calm, and there's a reason for that. We'll move on to that here in a minute, but it was shocking.
It's out of nowhere. I'm not thinking of the bomber in this movie anymore before this point. Like, there's a bomb on a train. I don't give a shit about who the guy is, or he hasn't made any demands in over an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So in my head, it's gone. I'm not even thinking about it. So this reveal truly was a great twist, because I have to be like, oh fuck, why is she on here though? Like, because she purposely stayed behind. She was hiding.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, oh, she's scared, something like that, but she's way too calm to be scared. What's going on? There's so many questions running through my head, and then she announces it. And then it's a little bit convoluted or overcomplicated, I'll say, because I do understand it. It's a little overcomplicated why she's doing this. Her dad was involved with some other explosion or to stop the original movie, right, Pete?
Her father was
the cop,
arresting officer, or the cop, because the original movie, the bomber committed suicide,
right?
Which they do say in this movie, but what they don't say in the old movie is that they covered it up by saying this cop shot him. He's a hero, and everybody loves him now. And the cop that shot him supposedly started believing it himself, and started taking that praise. And the daughter knew better and hated him for it.
This is where I got a little lost in this, is why she hated her dad so much for this to make this happen. But also
he beat her.
Well, he beat her, and she also has a incurable heart condition or something like that. They throw a lot.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot.
It's okay. Doesn't take me out of it. But when you have to talk about it, you're sitting there going, why the fuck is she doing this again?
Yeah.
But they add to it a little bit better that we find out she does have an accomplice, because she couldn't have done this on her own. She'd had to been.
She's a high school
a tech genius.
She couldn't.
Yeah.
She might be able to do the tech stuff, but she couldn't put the bomb together without having access to those supplies.
Right. So we find out that there's a guy that does demolitions, and it was his dad.
Yes.
His dad was the bomber. And so
the
original guy. So he's taking revenge on her dad. So he had ulterior motives and kind of used her too.
Yeah.
So it's not all on her.
One of the subplots is that the munitions father, who was the original bomber, blew himself up, and that would have been ritual suicide, and he would have died honorably.
Yes.
Instead, he got shot by a cop, or is thought to have been shot by a cop, and that isn't as honorable as taking your own life.
Which was more for the public perception.
Right. So that's why that guy, the Dennis Hopper guy, off the train, was pissed off and wanted revenge.
Right. Yeah. But the girl does murder her dad.
She sure does.
Blows him the fuck up.
What the fuck up, man?
He Jeff Daniels in this movie.
No, dude. That was a huge explosion. I was like, that's overkill, girl. Like, she's pissed.
That whole house is gone. Like,
and the neighbor and the house behind it.
I was going to say, the two houses on either side of it are gone.
The explosions
she watched him
well
die.
done.
That was the.
Oh, they are, yeah.
Yeah, she had him on like video.
They were on a video conferencing call, and she saw his eyes right before the bomb went off, and that's what she wanted. And at that point, that's when she says, "I can die now. I killed my father. I'm okay." She explains to everybody that the bombs are connected to an app on her phone that reads her heart rate, and if her heart rate stops, it will deactivate all the bombs. So in America, someone's going to throw her off the train, right?
Oh, 100%. I was like, why is somebody not punching her? Like shoving something through her brain.
And this is the frustrating thing about, since we're not of that culture, this is a frustrating thing from our perspective, is like, I don't understand why somebody isn't just taking charge here. The Japanese do not want to kill her in cold blood.
Also, they left she left a really, really big loophole that even I would have figured out in about 3 minutes of going, so if your phone doesn't sense your heartbeat, that fucking phone would have been out that window.
Done broke,
gone. It would have been a reverse dread. Instead of throwing Mama off the high rise till the little bomb couldn't read her heart anymore, I would have just thrown her phone, because what's going to happen? More than likely,
it's going to lose.
It's going to lose signal, which is the same thing as her heart stop beating. It's going to lose signal with her heart. They don't do that.
Maybe they said there was like a proximity part of the app where it had to be reading her heart and the bombs at the same time.
Sure. So we'll go with that.
To one or the other.
Or maybe the phone breaking wasn't enough to necessarily end that signal in the app. You know, it's just at that point, it's like the app or the phone's just broke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Second loophole, which I thought Keanu was gonna do, is he kind of does snap, and he starts choking her, and so
he does.
What you do is
the most
you choke
inefficient way
her.
to kill a person is to choke them to death.
Yeah, you go, but you walk over to her and you start choking her, and you're looking at her phone, and as soon as that phone says, "Yep, she's dead," you throw it, and then resuscitate her and bring her back to life. See, I got all kinds of ways to get out of this. That's all they just needed. Charlie Keanu on the train. I'd have fixed it.
Charlie Keanu.
I'd have fixed it. It's totally fine. But no, I'm fully enjoying every bit of this movie up to this point. So yeah, she bypasses, even wanting the money, kill me and everyone lives. So there's a moral dilemma, and I get it. It works for the movie. Give them the moral dilemma. And I think I put in there was a second twist, which was she had I think that's where she had a collaborator or something like that. Like there was multiple things kept elevating as it went. And then they had to come up. Love America. They had to come up with the most American way to end this movie. We're going to drift a fucking train, boys.
You're talking about model train builders. Here it is. They have a model train where they're going to show you exactly what they have to do.
Yes. And that is, we can't, because bravo for the government guy. Okay, that decoupling thing worked. Do it again. They went, we can't because reasons. And I was like, wow, that is, we're not allowed to. Now that the system has done it, the system won't allow us to do it again. Bullshit. That's plot armor, ma'am. And that doesn't work with me.
But then we wouldn't have gotten this final.
No, we wouldn't have gotten this amazing shot of, okay, here's what we're going to do. We have to time this with second precision.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're going to get to another switch, and we're going to hit this switch. And when the front two cars get up on this track, we immediately flip this other switch that will cause the rest of it to flip back. So we have one car sideways where we'll put everyone.
And we're two tracks at the same time.
We're going to decouple this train the hard way while we slide skateboard style, grinding the rails with this train car. But it's not going to be this easy that you can do it with computers. One of the switches has malfunctioned, and we have to go do it manually.
Yes.
I was cheering when they said that because I was like, yes, someone has to be there in order to flip that switch. And it's all on radio. It's go now, go this. I did get a little irritated at the conductor chick when the first thing started happening, and they were like, you have to do this. And she's like, I don't know. Fucking push the button. Just push it. They told you to do it. Do it. And it takes her 3 minutes when it's time sensitive to push the joystick to change the speed. Maybe that's why they quit using her. They're like, no, we can't show her doing that anymore.
Aw.
But they get this thing set up, and everyone inside the train, they go and find every soft thing they can. Headrests, bags. They make like this crash cushion in the middle of the car.
Spider web of seatbelts all over the place. So you
like,
don't move around too much because they know that this car is going to be violent over, and it's going to be violent. You're already going 75 miles an hour or whatever it is.
So
this
scene,
a sharp stop is going to be
rough,
violent beyond belief.
This scene is speed when they're on the subway car and he sees that the track's not finished, but he says, we're going to speed it up, speed. And so he speeds it up, and then they're going to jump the track, and they end up on the main street, but they're holding on to one pole. This is that basically, but they're smart, and they go, we need to cushion ourselves. Kenji got impaled with a piece of metal during the decoupling scene when it crashed. We didn't talk about that, but
he's bleeding out.
Go watch the movie. So you have someone they're trying to save, and he's strapped in, and this end sequence is just amazing because it does happen. They hit those switches with precision. That car gets sideways on 2 different rails. The front car keeps taking off one way and it blows up, knocking the one that's sideways around the other end. Like there's 4 bombs total. So 2 bombs go off and it is gloriously explosive-y. It says bullet train explosion.
Explosive.
It's
dead.
It's bullet train explosion. Okay, this title did not lie to me, and I am so happy about that. And then everybody's okay. Everybody survives, which is
All 9
awesome.
people survive, including the bomber herself.
The bomber
And
survives.
She gets her. She's going to jail.
Yeah,
Justice.
So
she gets the justice.
She gets the justice that she deserves instead of a quick and easy death.
But I bet she will get some sort of mental health help while in prison to where
I
she
would hope
can at
so.
least,
Sure.
because I don't think at the core of her, she's just young.
Yeah.
And she's just been shat on so much in her life, and I think
abused
and to a certain point. I mean, people's going to crack. So I think her I think her teacher will be there for her, and be the parent to come visit her in that kind of
And
situation.
she still has a terminal disease,
Right, that too, yeah.
And has
and also they have kind of, if they wanted to, they have the scapegoat. They have the guy in custody that helped her do all this. So there's a bunch of different ways, but this is the thing that impressed the fuck out of me. Giant explosions, everything's going. Keanu kisses Sandra. No, he doesn't. It was
what? Wait, what?
They get done with this, and we get back to the headquarters, and they're like, everyone survived. They're all cheering. The government dickhead's like, oh, he's crying. He's like, we're all heroes. All right, everybody, let's get these trains back going. Shut down this track that the explosion just happened to.
Yep.
Get all these other stations opened up. Green light that train.
Job's not done.
We got
all
a job
of this
to do.
stress. No one's like, I'm taking PTO. I got to go. No, it was back to work, everybody. We got shit to do.
That's
we got,
insane.
Like 8 hours, and we're going to have the morning commute ready to
I
go.
think he says something like, Japan depends on us. We got to get it back on track.
It does.
There is there's always a bigger picture going on.
I was blown
these
away by
trains
that.
are the lifeblood. They're the central arteries. Of
I was going to say,
Japan.
they're just like arteries.
Yeah,
the way you see this.
With them shut down, the country would, I wouldn't say it would implode, but it would
affect it
irreparably
adversely.
damaged.
Yeah, it definitely would.
We've
All
already got 2 tracks that have gotten exploded on already.
Yeah, and God, just think of the permits.
Yeah.
Fuck your permit.
Fuck yo,
Leave
permit.
anything for us?
What do you?
Just
What do you mean I don't give? You're rescinding my permit. Fuck your permit.
Body count.
Oh yeah, I didn't even talk about that. They rescinded the
Rescinded
work.
it.
They're fixing a track to save lives, and the government went, "No, that's not your jurisdiction." My jaw was on the floor, dude.
Yeah.
They were showing them cut the tracks, all like 50 guys with sticks, and they were physically
They're
moving
doing
the
it.
track
They're
over.
getting it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 1, 2,
I-
1, 2,
Yeah.
all in sync. It's just
They were-
incredible.
The efficiency of it, moving the stone, moving it to do it correctly, and that guy gets that call that he has to
the
stop
foreman,
work.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
was yelling at the TV. I was like, fuck the government. I was like, I want to see that guy just say, fuck you, I'm doing it anyway. But no, they don't.
They don't. They're
I
by
was
the
just
by the book kind of folks.
By the
orders.
book.
Yeah, always.
My God, it was amazing.
Pete,
So,
how many
body
people you
count.
think? How many people you think died? We got to guess. I'm gonna say 302.
Died in this movie?
Yeah, the body count.
0.
You're wrong too.
Oh, okay.
Anna's way off.
I was just thinking train explosion. People.
So
Death.
what this movie has done is mitigated a lot of casualties. Even the train they blow up to show they're serious, which I like. That was the other bus that blows up in Speed.
That happened in the original, also the 75 version.
They don't show anyone being on that. Only in
it was a transport train. It had goods and stuff.
Yeah, it was goods. It wasn't people.
There probably was a conductor and maybe a few other people.
But they don't show us to it. Right. We can't see it.
Right.
And if we don't count the flashback of the first movie and the guy blowing himself up, there's only one death in this movie. And that's her dad.
Oh, shit.
Blew up her dad.
I'm way off.
That's how exciting and wild the explosions are. In an American movie, yes, 300 plus people probably would have died. A whole nother... We only care about the people in this train, but if another train came by and it blew up, we don't give a shit about the 300 people on that train.
Right. Yeah,
that's how Americans think. This is why we care about my people.
I fell right into that stereotype.
Didn't Speed have a very low body count too? I mean, like almost.
Well, he killed all of the SWAT officers with Jeff Daniels.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
No, there's still a pretty decent body count in that one.
They,
Plus the bus driver that he blows up at the beginning.
Oh yes.
Then yeah. So and I mean this is all anticipating that Kenji lived, but they don't say anything about he was still alive because they say every passenger survived. No one got like sucked out of the bullet train because it was going so fast,
or got their head cut off.
Or a head cut off. Anything that would have been cool, but this movie's still cool. But yeah, one went. So instead of favorite kill,
You ever killed anyone? Yeah, but they were all bad.
Favorite action sequence in this movie. I want to go with that. Anna, what's your favorite action sequence in this movie?
Where they're connecting the cars at the back to front, back to
the
front
rescue,
to back.
the rescue one.
Where they're moving all the tools. They're bringing them across that one where it's like
the rope one. Yes,
the rope one where it's real wobbly. I'm like, my God, that looks like somewhere in Gatlinburg, like a rope area you can walk. Yeah, rope course. I was like, oh, that's a little dodgy, but that was a tense moment that I was impressed they successfully did.
No, that really good one. Pete, what's yours?
So when just before the rescue, when they're telling all the passengers, hey, make your way to this car because we're going to get rid of these two cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take only what you need. Leave all your shit because it's gone. Just leave all your shit. People are stuffing their pockets with bullshit
and Nintendo Switches.
I thought I saw some. Was it Switches, or I thought I saw some gal holding a bunch of stacks of cash for some.
Oh, there was cash.
I saw
too.
that. Yeah, I saw that.
and then some guy walks up to this gal and says, "Can we take ice cream?" And he holds up a little tub of ice cream. She said, "No." That chaos made me. That's like, yeah, that Americans would do the same thing. They wouldn't be like, "Oh, I don't need my whatever." No, they would be like, "Can I take my this or that?"
All of my suitcases and my backpack.
Japan did it too. I think it's just a human nature thing to want to keep your shit.
I mean, it's my stuff, right?
Yeah.
What do you need?
Check out all my cool stuff.
Wallet, credit card, phone, and you should be okay. But
yeah, what do I not have to go to the DMV and replace? That's what I'm taking back with me.
Yeah, I can replace underwear, but man, I don't want to replace my driver's license.
Exactly. I'm not going that route.
That chaos, I think, was because there were some jokes thrown in there. I'd like to see it again just to like slow it down through that scene and see what else is going on. I swear to God, this gal had like 5 stacks of like stacks of cash. Where'd that come from?
She had a lot of money.
What about you, Charlie?
Mine is we're gonna grind the rails with a train car at the end. Like I've seen a lot of movies. I've seen a lot of wild shit. Never would have crossed my mind that if we jump half the train up on this one, but yet kick the other switch because it's moving forward. So it has to hit one switch and get cockeyed down. And then the next switch, they flip it so that car that's sideways will jolt back and break off from everything else. I'm just like, that guy's doing math equations on a piece of paper. And I hate math.
Longhand.
Yeah. To me, I'm still remembering him holding 2 clocks in his hand and, remembering my SAT tests that I bombed or whatever. I don't know. It's just, but
we all did.
That's
why we're doing a podcast instead of making money.
It.
There you
go. Grinding that rail, 2 giant explosions from the last of the bombs, and then the little bit of drama of, we can't hear you. Is everyone, they're listening on the radio and it's crackling and they're trying to talk to Keanu conductor. And finally it comes over. Everyone's alive. Everyone survived. So they didn't say everyone on the train survived this entire ordeal. So an amazing ending.
It's a happy ending.
It's a very happy ending. I love it.
Loved it. Yep.
All right. Rate it. Pete, set the bar for us.
Man, this is a good movie. I mean, it's good. I'm gonna go 9. Solid 9.
Ooh,
I
okay.
really like this movie. I ding it because of the length.
Yeah.
I was thinking 8.5 because of the length. Because just what you were saying, Charlie, you could cut large sections of this out and not lose any of the action or any of the story.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Scenery or anything, fine.
I can still make you hate the government. I can still hate you make the bureaucracy. I can make and get every storyline involved, and I can shave a solid 30 minutes out of this movie.
But I liked it. Like, this is a good director. The music was wonderful. Acting was great. Action was great. Biggest beef is the length. So it's a 9. Go watch this, folks. Who are you?
Somebody. We don't know. Anna, what about you? Safe Pete. What are you going to rate this?
I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10 because I also do not like the length. I do feel like it's too long, but I also feel like there's just too many characters. I feel like they should have honed in on
fair.
some of that, and maybe I could have felt a little more connected to them than I did. But other than that,
like that separation of people and the last 9.
I would have done that sooner.
Earlier.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yep.
Taking some of that extra bullshit out at the
yeah.
start. I guess that comes with the length and cutting some of it. But yeah, if that could happen, I feel like we'd cut down on.
I like that.
I would even like for it to be like what's going on our bullet train and what's going on with the conductors and the guy, the man in the chair, pretty much. Them trying to figure everything out. The government and bureaucracy bullshit, I don't really need as much of, as I would rather know what's going on the train and how they're going to fix it and prevent it from blowing up.
You could have done all of the government stuff through the government dickhead. You could have done all of it through him, just relaying the messages, even so much as they pulled the permit. They were not allowed to do it anymore. I do want to see him trying to, going through the effort of trying to move the track. That was a powerful moment. That would stay. But I could lose so much more and just let all of the messages. Then I feel like since they're only talking to Keanu conductor by phone, we're only dealing with the government by phone. I don't want to see the Department of Transportation's face. I don't want to see any of this other stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
That's fair assessment.
But other than that, I mean, it's still a great movie, and I had a lot of fun with it. It was a great pick, Pete. Now, who am I? I'm stuttering.
Who are you?
This is instant karma for laughing at you.
Charlie, you're
Charlie, what's your score?
So I give Pete a chance, and I always get super nervous whenever he picks a movie.
This makes me happy.
And
genuinely makes me happy that, like, oh shit, Pete's picking a movie.
He picks a movie he hasn't even watched yet.
I haven't watched it.
Literally just came out, and I'm like, oh my. The only thing was
I knew the director.
He did explain that to me, but I was also like, okay, it's not a weird fucking horror movie. No. Some weird shit like that. I was like, okay, and it is an action pick. All right. The length really had me scared, but I sat down in my office and I started watching this thing, and this is that whole Dumb and Dumber scene where I go, Pete, sometimes you do the dumbest shit I've ever seen when it comes to a movie, but you totally redeemed yourself.
Woo! Yay!
Because I had a ball with this movie. I will ding it for the length and a couple of decisions that I definitely would have changed, and maybe we'll see an American version of this later, but I'm going to give it a solid 8. I am happy with an 8. This is a high recommend. If you're okay with, the time of it. The dub is amazing.
It's a good dub. Yeah.
I hate dubbed movies. Like Pete said, this was planned to be dubbed. So the characters sound as if they are the characters speaking English. You don't get Godzilla talk where the mouth keeps moving, but all they said was, hey, that's a language thing.
No,
but
hold on. That's a Shaw Brothers Kung Fu movie, not
Godzilla does it too.
Yeah, but they did it better than the Shaw Brothers did.
But they still did it. This one doesn't. I never felt like the audio track was really, really good. The music was intense. It kept me engaged. I loved all of it. I think Anna nailed it. They needed to divide the amount of people earlier in the movie. You could have flip-flopped one of the sections, give the decoupling scene first and then trying to avoid the head-on collision when there's just 9 people on the train and you're trying to compensate for the speed loss or something like that, because you're less of a train. Regardless, this movie's amazing. I recommend everyone go watch it. And then go watch the American Bullet Train with Brad Pitt.
Which is Anna what I did.
Had the pleasure of a double feature that she had never seen it either.
Yeah,
so much fun.
Anna.
She kind of got a Society Substance double feature like Pete got. She got Bullet Train Explosion and Bullet Train.
True. It was a great double feature. So good.
Yep. So, and I watch Bullet Train any chance I get. So that was amazing. No trash opinion, because honestly, I don't think anyone's rated.
I don't think there's any out
movie enough.
And if they did, fuck them. We're not listening to them.
Fuck your permits. So no, a lot of fun. So sorry, it's not a horror movie.
Get over it.
But it's fine.
Fuck your horror movie.
Fuck your horror movie. Fuck your lost episode. But Pete, because you did so good, I'm letting you pick next week's. What are we covering next week, bud?
Woo! Next week, we're covering a horror movie for sure. We are doing Sid Haig's very first horror movie and one of Lon Chaney Jr.'s final films. This one's called Spider Baby. And I think it's... Oh man, I can't remember what year
it's black and white. If you watch it on Tubi,
white. I think it's like 1958 or something like that.
I started it today. I haven't finished it, but it was. I dig the vibe so far, and I'm liking the story. So,
67.
That makes more sense. 67. So, it's in the 60s. It was in black and white because it was cheaper.
Oh yeah.
This is got a lot of cheese in it. It's got a universal monster. It's got more. It's a little more like a Black Cat Universal Monster. If you've seen that one, where there's torture and horribleness, but it's not on the screen, so you're not going to see a lot of gore on the screen.
It's implied.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not Witchmaster General or anything like that.
No, also not that. But it's there's a good deal of camp, a good deal of cheese, and there's a really good deal of Anna, you seen it? That first kill was pretty.
Yeah, I was like,
damn
holy
good.
shit!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what hooked me. But then the intro kind of got me too.
The intro is very cheesy.
I like it.
And Lon Chaney Jr. sings it. That's
was that
voice.
him? Okay,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So I think you guys are in for a treat next week.
Spider Baby, 1967.
We're gonna do an early one. Pete surprised us before we did. What was it, Blood of Dracula? That Nate and I ended up loving and having a ball with, and we don't do a whole lot of early style movies. So
yeah,
I'm not as worried about this one. Let me just say,
this one's been on my list for a while. Like I really wanted to do it, and I just couldn't find the right time. And it almost made February this year.
Right.
Runner up.
But it was a runner up. It's still on the list, but I can erase it now from the list.
You can.
Well, see, there you go. All right. So next week we are doing Spider Baby, which it is on Tubi. There's a colorized version on YouTube. And I do believe it's on Prime too. I looked it up. So
okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So
Tubi.
You can find it pretty easily.
That was the other stipulation I gave Pete. Can we find the damn?
Can we
movie?
find it right away?
So
and that does narrow my choices down.
It usually does. Hopefully, it kind of keeps him on the straight and narrow a little bit till he finds shit on archive.
Not necessarily. No, if it's fucking Tubi, Tubi is not.
That's
the
right.
straight and narrow.
Was on,
well, you should see my algorithm in Tubi, boy. I got some really
Lord,
cool
I bet.
You're on multiple lists because of your algorithms.
I am.
All right. So, next week we will be on horror. And again, this is just what may come. We will figure out how to get things fixed here in a week or so to get us back on track. Just going to sacrifice that episode to the gods. So it is what it is. So, and also because this is so current, a little episode drops Sunday. I haven't listened to it yet.
I haven't either.
So I don't know if I have to apologize for what happened, but I will explain because he doesn't hide it. He does the entire commentary high as Steven Seagal, but I'll tell you a little behind the scenes. He got done recording that. He is in Nate. So if you've missed Nate, this is full frontal Nate.
Literally
in this episode.
Whoa.
But
am I gonna have to get HR in there?
You might, but so he got done recording this, and I let him get into Syncaster and do all his stuff, and he's like, "How do I bring it in Audacity?" And I was like, "Okay, you do this and this." And picture Charlie working on a job site on a Saturday, Nate still high as balls, trying to edit his own episode, and me walk him through it.
Bless him.
That was my hell. So, whatever that episode is, you're welcome or I'm sorry, whichever way you want to go on it. It's out there. I guess I recommend you watch the movie while you listen to it. It is a play-by-play as if you're watching it. So, have fun with that.
But then I got to watch a Steven Seagal movie. I don't want to do that.
Parker didn't. He just went through it. He goes, "I didn't watch the movie."
Good for Parker.
Apparently, it's
standards.
Apparently, it's entertaining enough without the movie, but I have to see the movie to understand where Nate went on a lot of this stuff. So, check that out. It's the one and only Seagal that we're ever going to get. That guy promoted. How many months, Pete, that we were going to get so many Seagal episodes?
It's been a bunch. Yeah,
we got one.
We got one. Let him live.
I don't know if it's better than none, Nana.
He's in a really good place now, so we'll probably get
let
some
him
more.
do his thing. If we get more Seagalies, then so be it.
Well, we're going to let Nate play with this extra. It came out on Mother's Day, too, because he forgot what day it was supposed to come out. So it is what it is. And I'm only doing this because we're releasing this so fast. So, all right, check that out. And if you want to keep up, which I doubt you can, with all this chaos, you can find us over at Give Me Back My Action Movies, the Facebook group. Give Me Back My Horror Movies, the Facebook group. Both of us are on Instagram. We're active over there. Thanks to the wonderful Scream Queen, Anna, which is Nerd at the Movies on Instagram, where she bridges many shows. For those that do follow me on social media, I left X. Not for political reasons. I'm just fucking tired of apps. So if you're like, why don't you like me anymore? I don't even like me. So I'm not on that one. I deleted it. It's gone. So Instagram is probably our most active area to interact with us, or the Facebook groups. Get in there and jump in and see some of the fun polls and stuff like that. I went and saw Fight or Flight. Josh Hartnett.
Hello.
High recommend. Basically, it's kind of funny. That one I called Bullet Train on a Plane. So,
okay.
It was good and it was bloody.
You don't need a bomb.
Even better.
For an airplane to fall out of the sky if it goes below a certain speed.
And this was a little different than that, but interesting, and also another twist that caught me off guard. So
interesting.
Go check out that one. High recommend for
Yeah,
me.
for sure.
And we will see everyone next week.